right along. I am really trying to catch up here. So continuing with Mando, we're just gonna gush about Mando. This all these videos. I mean, the good thing about it is that the period in time which it covers, in the years following the Battle of Endor, after Disney and Lucas, decanonized a lot of expanded universe stuff, a lot of which takes place in this period in time. I mean, that gives us a lot to work with, and by us I mean Favreau and Filoni. There's a whole lot of stuff that they can do, and really make this series, well, give it a longer life, and also really, really, really dig into it and give it some great depth. I mean, that's kind of the curse of a feature film. I fucked up this battle. The curse of a feature film is that you don't have that opportunity, which I think is one of the biggest criticisms of the sequel trilogy, is you don't get that kind of character development that you can get in a series, in a show. So I think that, and I'm hoping, and I do believe that Favreau and Filoni are going to take full advantage of their chance to really develop a new mainstay of the Star Wars franchise. I wouldn't even hate it if most of Disney's media when it comes to Star Wars is shows and series, because there's so much pressure that goes into making feature films, or certainly trilogies. So I wouldn't even hate it even if it's just temporarily, if they were to just solely produce shows for a while, as long as those shows are good quality, which, at least so far, they've shown their ability to meet that standard. Especially when you have, like I said, and I've said it 100 times and I'll say it 100 more, Favreau and Filoni at the helm of these things. And they're slowly bringing in more and more talent and more good talent in terms of producers, directors, writers, etc. I mean, Bryce Dallas Howard, although her episode wasn't my favorite in last season, she clearly has, but that's because of my own biases, right? Not because of anything she did or didn't do, purely because of my own biases. Deborah Chow. I mean, there's a lot of talent that they have brought in and have already said will continue to be involved. Taika's, I mean, I'm a little bit biased because I have a huge man crush on Taika Waititi. So I think that Lucasfilm, Kathy Kennedy, if she, and I know Kathy Kennedy has had a lot of criticisms too, some of them rightfully so, but if she continues to let these proven directors and producers work on the different Star Wars media, I think that certainly bodes well for the franchise as a whole moving forward. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not super thrilled about an Obi-Wan spin-off series that's going to be one season and one season only. I mean, okay, fine, sure. Some people will definitely be happy about that. I think that there are just far better things that we can do. I'm also not super thrilled about a Diego Luna spinoff. I'd much rather see a Jyn Erso spinoff. I want to know what Jyn Erso did in between, when Saw Gerrera kind of cut her loose from his crew and before we see her again in Rogue One. I think Jyn Erso is a far more compelling character than Cassian Andor. Even though I'm really pissed off at John Boyega, I think that Finn is a far more compelling character than Cassian Andor. So I would prefer to see those, but whatever. Um, I don't really find Poe Dameron super compelling. Definitely Jyn Erso. Definitely Finn. Even though that would be a pretty short-lived spinoff, I guess. Jyn, you could. I mean, Jyn's character. I think, although I'm very happy with the arc it took in Rogue One, I think that was spot on. I think that you could expand upon her character much, much, much more. She's very interesting. Um, I wouldn't hate to see a Lando spinoff. Um, yeah, I really wouldn't. I would actually thoroughly enjoy that because I think Lando is actually a great character. Um, I would rather see Lando in between Solo and Episode 5 than I would like to see Lando post, or I guess between Episodes 6 and 9. Um, Especially if Childish Gambino is going to be recast, because I love Donald Glover. I think he's really, really good. Um, yeah, so I would really like to see those things. What else would I like to see? I wouldn't hate to see a Darth Maul movie, honestly. Whether it's between Clone Wars and Solo, or between Solo and when we see him in Rebels. I wouldn't hate to see that whole like underworld crime syndicate movie with Darth Maul in there. I think that would be really good too. The bottom line is, if they want to, which I hope they do, and if they do it properly, Disney and Lucasfilm. I mean, there is literally an unlimited amount of stuff that they can do if they do it properly, if they put the right people in charge. Um, to wit, not Rian Johnson. Yeah, I know that there have been some articles that Rian Johnson has been contracted to make his own either standalone or his own trilogy. Please, Lord have mercy, no. No, no, no. No, please, no. I was not impressed. The only thing that I really liked out of Rian Johnson's movie was the Force bridge between Rey and Kylo. Some people didn't like that. I thought that was fucking awesome. Because there's literally no better way to develop your two main characters without having them in the same physical space, right? And every time they're in the same physical space, they're dueling, right? So it's kind of hard to do a whole lot of character development when your two main characters are constantly fighting. So what better way to develop their characters, their individual characters, but also their relationship with each other, than to have the Force bridge. So I don't know if Rian Johnson deserves the credit for that, but whoever deserves it may have been the Kasdans. Whoever deserves credit for that, give the credit where it's due, because that was, I think, masterfully done. The rest of Rian Johnson's movie, I can live without. But certainly the Force bridge between Rey and Kylo was awesome. And if you disagree, well, you're wrong. You are wrong. Sorry. Bye, Felicia. Yeah. So that's where I'm at. I'm pretty okay with the Game of Thrones creators not having a Star Wars contract at this point. They did a really good job with Thrones up until the last few episodes of the final season. Not entirely their fault. Could very well be George R.R. Martin's fault if that's the direction he wanted it to really, go and finish in or end in, whatever. But I think we have enough good producers and directors in the pipeline that are already involved in the franchise to date, that we can do some really good and fun things with Star Wars and rehab the image a little bit. I don't really think that the sequel trilogy is as bad as everyone claims. I really don't think it's that bad. There are certainly things that I do not like. There are certainly things that I think were the easy ways out, but I really, not for a second, do I think that the sequel trilogies are bad and deserve to be cut out of canon. I think that that's an overreaction. But I'm always down for more Star Wars content. I mean, even the prequel trilogy, which I hate, I still watched them. I still would theoretically watch them if there weren't better things to watch. I don't like them, but I don't want to call for them to be removed from the franchise as a whole. And I think I know many people disagree with me, but I think the prequel trilogy is worse than the sequel trilogy. I think that the prequel trilogy had great makings, but I think that they were abortive.